Dear students, welcome to the online session on Medium, Small and Micro Enterprise Management, 3rd BBA, Part 1 of Unit 4. Important topics to be covered in this session are definition and meaning of sick industrial unit and causes of industrial sickness. What is the basic definition or meaning of sickness? According to the Industrial Act 1985, a unit is defined as sick industrial company where a company's registered losses for not less than 7 years. For consecutive 7 years, a company gets continuous losses, it can be declared as sick industrial unit. Second one, if it incurred cash losses for the current and preceding financial year, it is turning as sick industry. It can be observed that the company is turning as sick industrial unit. Third one is its net worth was completely eroded. It can be declared as sick industrial unit. And fourth one is even 50% or more of the net worth of the past 5 financial years is eroded because of accumulated losses of the company. If accumulated losses for 5 years are exceeded 50% of the net worth of the company, it can be called as sickness of the industrial unit. What do you mean by net worth? Net worth is nothing but the amount belongs to the equity shareholders is called as net worth, which includes equity, share capital, reserves and surpluses, balances of profit and loss account. What is the definition of sickness? According to the criteria accepted by the Reserve Bank of India, a sick unit is one which is reported cash loss for the year of its operation and in the judgment of the financing bank is likely to incur cash loss for the current year as also in the following year. So if the bank is anticipating, the lending bank is anticipating the losses for the company in the present year and the next year also, if the same company declared losses in preceding year, it can be called as a sick unit. In common parlance, a sick industry is one which is not healthy. A healthy unit is one which earns a reasonable return on capital employed and which builds up a reserves of providing reasonable depreciations to the assets of the company. What is the process of industrial sickness? How a healthy unit or normal unit turns into a sick unit? There are 4 categories here. If you go through the left side of the table, normal units tending towards sickness, incipient sickness, which means slowly turning towards sickness, and completely sick units or complete sickness of the industrial unit. Let us look at the right hand side. So what are the characteristics of normal unit, normal industrial unit? All functional areas like production, marketing, finance and personal are normal and efficient. If the company is generating profits, it can be called as a normal unit. If the current ratio is more than 1, generally current ratio of any company would be, normal company would be 1.5:1 or 2:1. So if the net worth is positive and debt equity ratio is satisfactory. If the company is not employed huge debt in the business, if the debt equity ratio is comfortable, it can be called as a normal company, normal unit. Second category is if it is tending towards sickness, how to identify. Initial observations is in some of the functional areas mentioned above decline, which means either in production or marketing, finance and personal functional areas are weakening, it can be said that yes, the company is tending towards sickness. And decline in profits, when the trend is drawn for last couple of years or last 5 years or last 3 years, if the company's profit is declining year by year, we can anticipate that the company is tending towards sickness. And if the losses anticipated in the current year or future years, it can also be said that the company is tending towards sickness. Third category is incipient sickness. That means slowly the company's normality is turning into sickness. This is the third stage. Normal unit is the first stage, tending towards sickness is the second stage, incipient sickness is the third stage. How to observe whether the company is in this position or not? First one, deterioration in the above functional areas continues, which means production, marketing, finance and HR functional areas are not normal. Their performance is deteriorating year by year, which is a symbol that the company is incipient to sickness. Second one is cash losses incurred last year are expected in current years. Consecutive losses will be incurred in this stage. Third one is deterioration anticipated during current year. Although current ratio is more than 1 during last year, there is somehow there is a decline in current ratio. Fourth one, next one is deterioration anticipated in debt equity ratio. That means debt burden is becoming more. If the debt burden is more, the company is obliged to pay interest irrespective of the profit they are generating on the business. So it is obliged to pay high interest rates to the lenders so that their contribution or their operating profit with respect to the equity shareholder share will be reduced to certain extent, which is again there will be no reserves, there is no dividend for the equity shareholders. Obviously they are supposed to borrow loans to pay interest also if they are not getting enough profits. This is another sign for incipient sickness. Fourth one is complete sickness, which means the company turns as sick industrial unit in this stage completely. What are the symptoms? First one is units functional areas have become inefficient. Cash losses were incurred last year, expected in the current year and next year also. Second one is current ratio is less than 1, which means current liabilities portion is higher than current assets. What is the current ratio? How to calculate current ratio? Current assets by current liabilities. If it is more than 1, that means current assets value is more than current liabilities value. If it is less than 1, means current liabilities are more than current assets, which is not at all a good sign to the company. What are the causes of industrial sickness? The causes of sickness are basically related to the disorder in any one or more of the functional systems within the unit. They are production, finance, marketing and personnel. These administrative or functional areas of management are very important for any industrial unit. If they are inefficient, obviously it leads to sickness of the unit. The various causes of industrial sickness are classified into 2 categories. First one is internal factors or internal causes and second one is external causes. Let us look at internal causes first. Internal causes may relate to organization structure, production channels, distribution channels, technology, obsolescence, etc. Some of the internal causes are poor handling of labor, which means if the labor cost is higher, if we are paying more for the skilled and unskilled worker or unavailability of skilled labor may adversely affect the organization or unit. Second one is poor management of strategies. If the company adapted strategies are not doing well in the market, it leads to the loss for the company. Choosing wrong idea or industry, which means the idea itself doesn't have that much potential to generate profits, or the industry we selected is intensely competitive, then there is no space for us, or there is a high price competitiveness within the industry which leads to losses for the company. Next one is poor management practices. If the top level and middle level management practices are not in line with the business strategies, obviously it leads to the loss. The next one is defective departmental structure. There are certain functions of planning. We already discussed it about in first unit I think in first year and second year also. The functions are simply termed as POSCORP. Acronym is POSCORP, which means planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating and controlling, reporting and budgeting. The second function is organizing, which means designing the organization structure, which is a blueprint of the organization. If this departmentation structure is defective, then it leads to the sickness of a unit. Next, inconsistent quality of products and services offered by the company. If the quality of products or services are inconsistent, obviously customer loyalty may not be gained by the company, which may be the result to which leads to the sickness of the unit. Next, poor capacity utilization. If the plant capacity is to produce 10,000 units, we are using it to 20% or 30%, which means fixed cost will remain the same, only variable cost differs. So we need to bear fixed cost whether the production is going on or not, irrespective of the production capacity. So we need to enhance production capacity to meet cost efficiency or cost of economies. If it doesn't happen, it leads to the sickness of the unit. And poor planning in various functions of departments. Next, lack of project implementation. Lack of proper project implementation leads to sickness of units. And last but not least is absence of horizontal and vertical integration. Horizontal integration means collaborating with the companies for getting benefits, to synergize the company is called horizontal integration. Vertical integration can be of two types: backward integration and forward integration. What is backward integration? If a manufacturing company wants to get control on raw materials also, from which it is manufacturing the products, is called backward integration. That means raw materials control will be there and finished products control will be there with the company. What is forward integration? Forward integration means generally there will be some middleman to reach the product from the manufacturer to customers. If the company wants to get control on these distribution channels, the company itself want to distribute the products to the end user. That means it acts as manufacturer as well as distributors or dealers for the directly. It wants to serve its products or services to the customers. It is called as forward integration. Such tactics or strategies are very, very important. If there is mistiming of these integrations for either horizontal integration and vertical integration, leads to sickness of the industry. All these points what we covered so far are internal causes for sickness of industry. Now let us look at what are the external causes. The external causes are beyond the control of the enterprise and usually affect the industry as a whole. It is not restricted to a particular unit. Entire industry will be affected by these external causes. Important external causes may include: first one is infrastructural bottlenecks, lack of transportation facilities for acquiring raw materials, so lack of logistics, power shortage. Power shortage is not in the hands of a particular unit, so it is of a kind of external factor which is beyond the control of a single unit. And third one is facilities like drainage, water, roads, etc. These are infrastructural bottlenecks which cannot be controlled by a single or a particular unit. Second one is financial bottlenecks, non-availability of adequate finance from banks, financial institutions, lack of government support in financing the business. So these are financial bottlenecks. Credit squeeze by banks. If banks are not supporting, there is no availability of collateral, non-collateral loans to the industrial units, which may cause adversely to the units. And third one, government control and policies, in which first one is government price control. There is a concept called Essential Commodities Act, where the prices of products are controlled by the government. If the business comes under this category, obviously there will be ceiling price limit for each product, which may adversely affect the profitability of the business. Second one is fiscal duties. There are certain items which attract high duties, high taxes, so which affects the manufacturers profitability, and third one is change in government policy. There are certain items or certain products are to be banned by the government periodically based on the interests of the environment or other factors which may adversely affect the business, which is again a strong point in external causes. Fourth one, market constraints. In market constraints, first one is market saturation. Saturation means there is no growth in the demand for the products. There are enough players in the market, and their entire market segments are shared by this. Market share is occupied by the existing entrepreneurs or existing units. So there is no further chance to grow beyond a particular limit is called saturation. That means slowly the technological obsolescence takes place and new substitutes are coming. So people may be attracted towards new offers. So this is a kind of situation where the profit will be less for the companies. And next one is revolutionary technological advances rendering one's product obsolescence, which means product obsolescence is common as every product has its own life cycle stage, which includes introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. When products reach to the maturity stage, obviously it leads to obsolescence of technology. New technology will come, new products and services will come into the market. So we need to change according to the changing tastes and preferences of the customers, otherwise it leads to the sickness of the industrial unit. And last but not least is extraneous factors like natural calamities, political situations, wars, sympathetic strikes, multiplicity of labor unions, bargaining for high salaries, financial perks, etc. may cause adversely to the business, and it leads to sickness of units. These causes are external units beyond the control of one particular industrial unit. This is all about the definition and meaning of sickness and causes of sickness, both internal and external causes. Thank you so much for your patience listening. Thank you. A remaining part of this particular unit will be discussed in the next class.